Hello.
Malak, you are on time. That's amazing.
Mm,
Yeah, good
Yeah, that's
morning.
good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah, and you?
Okay, I'm okay. I have to thank God and thank you for asking. Okay, I think after discussing the full stop or the period, we have to discuss the next punctuation mark. As I told you before, Malak, please, in writing, punctuation marks are extremely important. So you have to be careful. And if you want to get extra marks, a good band, absolutely you have to use all the punctuation marks correctly. Not only in English, to be honest, in any language in the world, absolutely in writing, we have to use the correct punctuation marks just to be academic students and professional writers. I think the next punctuation mark we have to discuss is quotation marks. I think we have to discuss it the next one because approximately the comma is really connected to punctuation marks. So this is it. Let me open my pen just to mention things I want to mention. So this is it. After talking about the period or full stop, now it's the time to discuss the quotation marks. The quotation marks, Malak, is really important, especially if you are writing the exact words the others said, say, or maybe are saying. Okay, now we are going to discuss, as I told you, the using of quotation marks, absolutely in written English in writing. One of the most important ways that we have to use the quotations or quotation marks is writing the two inverted commas. So we notice that here we have two commas and at the end of the words that we want to quote, we have to write another commas, but the second two commas should be converted. So notice the first two commas, I mean, should notice that these are the first two commas, and these are the next two commas, just to extract, as I told you, or to quote someone's words. So to quote something means to repeat exactly what others say or what others said. So the using of the quotation marks, Malak, is to report or to quote the exact words. You don't have to miss any words. You don't have to write or add any extra words. So you have to quote the exact words. This is the goal of using the quotation marks. Now, let's discuss the rules of using the quotation marks. Now, rule number one. Rule number one is saying we have to use the double quotation marks to indicate a direct word for word. We have to quote every single word others say. This is the example. So notice that I love horror movies. He, she said. So notice that she exactly said these words. And if I want to quote the exact words that she or he said, I have to write, these are the first inverted commas, and these are the second two inverted commas. Then I want to mention the person who said the information. Maybe I want to write a certain name like John or Sarah, for example. Exactly. And notice that these are the words that this person said, and I put the exact words between these commas. So this is it, and absolutely. After that, we have to use the full stop. Please, there is something which is extremely important. I need to tell you about quotation marks. The comma should be used to separate the words that person said and uh, uh, um, from the person who said the information. And don't forget, if you want to mention the person who said the information at the end, please, the comma should be within the two inverted commas. Okay?
Okay.
So this is the next example. Do you want to go for dinner tomorrow night? So as we remember, or as I told you before, if you want to write question mark, exclamation mark, you don't have to write any commas or any full stops at all. And
Mm.
don't forget that if it is a question, the question mark should be again within the two inverted
Mm.
commas. This is the person who said the information who is Mary. So Mary asked.
Okay.
Some students asked me, can I mention the person who said the information in the beginning, not at the end? Absolutely. You can mention the person who said the information in the beginning of the quoted words, or maybe at the end, it is up to you. Absolutely, the meaning will be the same. So these are the two inverted commas because these are the exact words Mary said. Now, the final example is I have a business meeting next Friday. And notice that this is exactly the words John said or answered maybe. I put them within two inverted commas. And let me mention again that you have to write the comma to separate
Come
exact words exactly. And the person
on.
who said
Two
the information.
sentences.
Oh, bravo. Okay.
Okay.
So this is rule number one. Now let us practice. Now, where do you think that we have to place the quotation marks in these two sentences? One,
Where?
we have to put the quotation
Because
marks uh-huh,
yeah, after the comma,
after the comma. Okay, like
the
this.
first one.
Exactly.
Okay, and at the beginning
At the
of
beginning
the
of
sentence.
the sentence. Exactly. So notice that the commas should be inverted. And absolutely, the comma should be within the two inverted commas. Thank you so much. This is correct. What about sentence number two?
At the beginning
At the beginning,
for the
absolutely.
second sentence,
Uh-huh.
and after the question mark.
After the question mark, absolutely. The quotation mark, the question mark should be within. If you want to mention the person who said the information, and you don't have to add any comma. Absolutely.
Mm.
Thank you so much. So this is rule number one. Now I think it's the time to discuss rule number two. Now, rule number two about using the quotation marks is saying we have always to use or capitalize the first word in a complete quotation. So take a look at this sentence. As I told you before, we can mention the person who said the information at the
Mm.
beginning, or maybe you have to mention them at the end. So notice that Rob screamed, "Don't lie to me." So notice that at the beginning of the sentence of the words that person said, I have to capitalize the first letter all the time. So notice the D should be capitalized. Even in the next example, if I want to say the judge said, you are guilty as charged. So notice that the Y is capitalized because it is the beginning of the sentence or the beginning of the quoted words. So this is it exactly. Okay. And if we notice that here, because I used exclamation mark, we don't have to write any comma, any full stop.
Yeah.
I want to compare two sentences, please, Malak, because I want to show you something. Notice here, because I mentioned the person who said the information at the end, I wrote the comma what within the two inverted commas. Am I right? Did you understand what I said, Malak?
Sorry, no. What?
Okay, let me repeat again. Notice that because I mentioned the person who said the information at the
Mm.
end, I have to use the comma within the two inverted commas. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now, in the next sentence, notice that because I mentioned the person who said the information at the beginning of the
Before.
sentence,
Mm.
please, the comma should be out, the two inverted commas. This is extremely
Okay, to separate this two sentences.
please. Okay.
Mm.
So this is
Okay.
the next example because I mentioned the person who said the information who is the judge at the beginning of the sentence. I didn't write the comma within the two inverted commas, but I wrote it out,
Mm.
the two inverted commas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. If you want to write a full stop to at the end of the sentence, don't forget that the full stop should be within the two
Mm.
inverted commas.
Okay.
Okay, this is extremely important. Please, we have to be careful. Okay. So, as I told you, this is it. Notice that the D is capitalized and the Y
Capitalized.
is capitalized. Exactly. Okay. Now, rule 2B about using the quotation marks is saying if a direct quotation is interrupted mid-sentence, don't capitalize the second part of the quotation. What do I mean by mid-sentence? Maybe, Malak, I want to mention 2 or 3 sentences the same person said. And maybe I want to mention or name the person who said the sentence, let me say, in the middle of the 2 sentences or 3 or 4 sentences. Let me read this example. Notice that I didn't see any celebrities in Los Angeles. Mr. Smith said, I haven't finished yet. I want to complete what Mr. Smith said, but but I still had a good time. I need you to notice that I mentioned the person who said the information in the middle of these, bravo, of these 2 sentences.
Two
Okay?
sentences. Yeah.
Bravo. This is what I mean by mid-sentence. And I need you to notice that I wrote 2 commas. Let me mention something. Or before discussing the 2 commas, let me say that this is the first 2 inverted commas because this is the first sentence or information or statement that person said, and this is the second statement or information the same person said. If you want to mention the person that said the information between or within more than 1 sentence, you have to mark every statement with 2 inverted commas. Okay?
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let me say that this is the first statement Mr. Smith said, and this is the second statement Mr. Smith said. And I used absolutely the first 2 commas in the statement number 1 and the second 2 inverted commas in statement number 2. Okay?
Okay.
And I wanted to notice something. Notice that when I said Mr. Smith said, the comma that I want, absolutely, I have to write 2 commas to separate the first statement from the second statement from the person that person who said the information. Am I right? Okay. The first comma should be used within the first 2 inverted commas, and the second comma should be written out the second
Yeah.
2 inverted commas. Please, this is really important. Okay?
Okay.
Because some students want to mention the person who said the information at the beginning, maybe in the middle, maybe at the end. But especially if you want to mention the person who said the information in the middle of the sentence, because this person said more than 1 sentence, you have to be careful of using the commas and the quotation marks, okay?
Okay.
Amazing. Now it's the time to practice. Now, where do you think that we have to put the quotation marks, and we don't have to forget to capitalize the letters in these
Yeah.
sentences?
Okay. The teacher asked comma, okay, who it will be capital letter.
Aha, bravo. The W should be capitalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we put the quotation marks after the comma.
Bravo. Exactly.
And
Okay.
at the last of the end of the sentence after exclamation mark,
After the question mark. Exactly. Shall I?
question mark.
Oh, bravo. Shall I write a full stop?
No,
No, I don't
because
have to.
yeah, I
Exactly.
have
So
the
exactly.
mark.
The first sentence is correct. What about sentence number 2?
Mm. We W it
Oh,
will be
bravo. The W should
capital
be
letter.
capitalized. Exactly.
Mm.
At the beginning of the statement or the quoted
And
words.
the quotation mark after the comma.
After the comma. Bravo. Exactly.
Yeah. And after the full stop.
Yes, exactly. So the second one is completely correct. Okay, what about the last one?
Okay. Why? Quotation mark before why at the
Quotation.
beginning.
At the beginning, why? Quotation mark.
I think
Okay.
it's two, we have three sentences.
Mm.
She asked, it's the person who asked, right?
Exactly. This is what
And
she asked.
why are you so rude? Are the quotes.
Mm-hmm. Why and
So
are you so rude? These are the words that she said or asked.
I think we have to put quotation mark
Mhm.
with why.
Okay. But after the comma or before the comma?
Ah, okay, okay. Um, after why
Yes,
at the beginning and after
exactly.
yeah,
Bravo. So this is the first two inverted commas. Okay.
and R it will be capital letter.
The R should be capitalized.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and quotation mark before R at the beginning and after the question mark.
Mm-hmm. Like this. Wait.
Mm.
Now, is it correct what I did?
Why she asked only so good? No, it's not question.
Mm.
Why she asked so good? Why?
Mm-hmm.
No, no, I mean before quotation mark, it not will be for she asked for why.
So
Quotation mark at the beginning
at the
of why.
beginning,
Yeah, I
yes.
meant that. Yeah,
Mm. Okay.
and after the comma.
After the comma,
Yeah,
shall I close the two quotation marks or like this, you mean?
comma quotation mark.
Oh, okay. And
She asked, are so rude. Yeah, I think it's correct like that.
okay, exactly. Let me show you the previous sentence just to make sure if we did it correctly or maybe not. So this is it. Wait, this is the first statement that, for example, Mr. Smith said. So this is the first two inverted commas, even if it is only one word.
Mm,
And this is the second one. Okay.
okay.
Okay. But notice that if you want to say this is at the beginning, I is capitalized, but is being capitalized.
Oh no, it's not.
Why? Because it is only one sentence. I mean, if you want to say, I didn't see any celebrities in Los Angeles, but I still had a good time. So it's only one sentence. This is why I didn't capitalize the B.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. This is what I mean. I mean, Malak, I have to say, why are you so rude? So we don't have to capitalize the A.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly. So don't forget that the first comma should be within the two inverted commas, and the next comma should be out the two inverted commas. And don't forget
Mhm.
that the question mark should be within
Yeah.
the two inverted commas. Exactly. Thank you so much. Now let me discuss the next rule of using the quotation marks. Now, the rule number 3 is saying we have to use commas to introduce or maybe interrupt direct quotations. Let me show you this example. He yelled, "Get out of my way." This is exclamation mark. So
Mm.
notice exactly. Notice that he yelled. This is the comma, absolutely. This is the first two commas, and this is the second two commas, and this is the exclamation mark. Okay?
Okay.
Exactly. So we have to use this comma to introduce or interrupt direct quotations. This is it. And absolutely, we have to write it out of the two inverted commas. Now, if you want to say he asked in the middle of the sentence, or maybe in the middle of the words, we have to say where, this is it. So notice it's like why, this is the first two inverted commas, and absolutely I have to separate
Mm.
the second part of the sentence with the person who mentioned the information with a comma, and absolutely the second one, this is the second two inverted commas, and the comma should be written within the first two inverted commas. Then I have to write absolutely a comma. After that, I have to start writing the
Quotation.
second, bravo,
Mm.
quotation marks, and don't forget that the question mark should be within.
Mm.
This is another example. If I want to say, I need to borrow your car, my sister said, so I can go to my appointment. So this is it, the first one, I need to borrow your car. This is the first comma. Absolutely, the first one should be within the two inverted commas. My sister said, comma, which is out of the second two inverted commas or the second quotation marks.
Okay.
This is really important because some students get really confused by using the correct commas. So these are the correct places of commas. If you want to mention the person who said the information at the beginning of the sentence, in the middle to separate the statement, or maybe the person said more than one clause, or maybe one than one sentence, like so, this is a certain clause. And we don't have to forget to write the correct commas to separate the statements, the clauses, and the person who said the information. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Now, if we absolutely we have to practice, now let's try to use the correct commas and quotation marks in
Mm.
these sentences. What do you think about sentence number one?
The woman said, I'm tired. Um, comma after sad.
After said, exactly.
Yeah. And quotation marks.
Uh-huh. Okay, after or before the comma?
Quotation mark after the comma.
Ah, exactly. Out, not within.
Outside,
Okay.
yeah. And after the
Oh,
full stop.
bravo,
This
that's it. So this is really correct. What about sentence number two?
terrible.
The rabbit, the man complained, is always eating my plants.
Oh, okay. It's
Mm.
three sentences separated, right?
Not sentences, but let me say three
Parts.
statements or parts.
Okay.
Again, I have to say like this. The rabbit, the man
Mhm.
complained, is always eating my plants.
Okay, so the rabbit, quotation mark,
Mm-hmm.
and the comma before the quotation
Yeah,
mark.
before, exactly. So this is the comma,
Mm.
and this is the quotation mark, like this.
Yeah, and at the beginning, another
Yes, we don't have
quotation
to
mark.
forget it exactly,
Yeah.
and the comma exactly should be within. Okay.
Then the man complained, comma here,
Yes, after the comma,
quotation mark
exactly.
at the beginning, and
Hey,
after the full stop, the other one.
bravo. So exactly, this is it. This is the correct place of quotation marks and commas. Thank you so much. Now, let me go to the next page to discuss rule number four. Now, rule number four is saying we have to use periods and commas. As I told you, always go inside the quotation marks. So notice that this is the example. The example is saying the manager said, this is the comma, everyone is getting a Christmas bonus. So this is the full stop, which is should be in between or within the quotation
Mm.
marks. The next one is saying, because now we have a comma, the queen, comma, as we said, this is the first quotation marks, whispered the shop assistant, this is the comma, and this is the second quotation marks is on the third shelf, and we don't have to forget that the full stop should be written
Yeah.
within. Exactly. I need you to be careful about capitalization, Malak, because notice
Mm.
that as if I want to make it only one sentence, I have to say that the queen is on the third shelf. So we don't have to capitalize.
Okay.
Oh, bravo. So this is extremely important. We have discussed this rule, by the way, before reaching rule number 4. So periods and commas always go inside quotation marks, so, except for if you want to use or mention the person in the middle of the,
Yeah.
yeah, some
Mm.
statements or words. Okay. Now, rule 5 is saying we have to place the question mark or exclamation mark within, and I told you, closing statement marks if the punctuation applies to the quotation itself. Now, if the punctuation applies to the whole sentence, you have to write them outside the quotation marks. I know that maybe you are still confused. Let me check this example. This example is saying Jane asked, this is the first comma, and this is the quotation marks.
Mm.
Where is the library? Notice that the question mark is within the
So,
quotation marks. Why? Because it is related to the quotation itself. And
mm.
let's discuss this example, then this one. Notice that if I want to say, do you agree with the phrase, comma, and notice that time is money. The quotation marks, the second quotation marks, then,
Okay.
oh,
The
bravo.
question mark is for the first sentence.
Exactly. Okay.
Mm.
So why?
Okay.
Because this is not related to the whole sentence. So this is why
Mm.
I have to write the quotation mark.
Outside.
Oh, bravo.
Mm.
So this is extremely important. You have to be careful, especially if you want to mention the people or person who said the information. So notice if I want to say Jack said, comma, absolutely, we don't have to forget. I hate you,
Mm.
exclamation mark. The exclamation mark should be within because the punctuation applies to the quotation itself. So we notice that time is money. The the information or the quotation marks, I'm talking about the punctuation, applies to the whole sentence.
Mm.
So please, this is really important. You have to be careful. I know that sometimes it is really confusing, but you have to practice as much as you can just to use them correctly. Okay, now I think it's the time to discuss the rule number 6 about using the quotation marks. So we have to use one single quotation marks for quotations within quotations. What does this mean? Let me read this example and let me discuss this rule. Now, I spoke to George yesterday and he said, comma, did you talk to Jane? Question mark. She told me, comma, um, I'm quitting my job. Okay, take a look at these commas.
Mm.
Notice that because I want to mention something, or if I want to quote something within quotation, I have to write only single quotation marks, not two inverted commas. If you notice here that this is the first comma, am I right? And this is the second, let me say single quotation mark.
Mm.
Now, the whole one is this. Let me change the color just to mark. What do I need? So notice that this is everything the person said. Am I right? Okay, Malak?
I spoke to George yesterday and he
Mm-hmm.
said,
Mm-hmm.
did you talk to Jane? It's the
Mm-hmm.
first answer
She told
of
me.
the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she told me
Uh-huh.
it's okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm. Okay, Malak.
told me
Mm-hmm.
it's Jane, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
she told
Oh,
me.
she told me. Okay.
I don't know who is she, but she told me. I'm talking about what did you talk to what to Jane? So
Mm,
now I know the person who is Jane.
mm,
Okay? Okay.
Okay.
So notice that this is everything that I quoted. These are the two inverted commas. Am I right?
Okay.
Now, maybe I want to quote another thing within quotation. If you want to quote other words within quotations, you have to mention or write single quotation marks. This is it.
Okay.
So notice that this is something new. I want to quote within another thing I already quoted.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay.
Let me show you the next picture. This is exactly what I meant. So these are the two quotation marks. This is what I want. If I absolutely I have to use them if I want to quote something. But the single quotation marks, I have to use them if I want to quote something within quotations. Okay? Is there
Oh,
mm,
not really.
mm,
Um, I'm
mhm,
so confused with it.
Okay, let me go back to the page. Now, if you want me to read the example again, Malak, notice that the example is saying, I spoke to George yesterday, and he said, this is what he said. Did you talk to Jane? Okay.
Okay.
She told me I'm quitting my job. Okay.
Okay. So the answer of George
Mm-hmm.
there are two answers, right? Did you talk to Jane? And she told me I'm quitting my job.
Yeah, but this is a question. Did you talk to Jane?
Mm,
Because she told me, I'm
mm,
quitting my job.
quitting my job.
Ah,
Okay.
this is something, another quotation.
Mm.
This is a quotation.
So the second part from did to my job, it's all about
Ah,
the answer of George,
exactly.
right? Okay. Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
So notice that this is something and this is another thing.
Mm, mm. Okay. Okay. The quotation mark start from did and we
Uh-huh.
finish
Uh-huh.
my job after
Oh,
my job.
bravo. Oh, bravo.
Okay.
Okay.
The single quotation
Mm-hmm.
is okay. Okay. For this reason, we put two
Oh,
quotations mark
bravo.
as
Exactly.
fine. Okay.
Exactly. So we have to
Mm,
write the quotation marks if I want to quote something. But maybe I want to quote another thing in the words. I have to use single quotation marks within the two inverted commas or the two quotation marks. Okay?
mm,
So notice that
okay.
I'm quitting my job. This is something, and this is something what? Something
Mm,
else.
okay.
So this is something else. This is it. Did you
Mm,
talk to Jane? This is something. And I'm quitting my job. This is something else. And
yeah.
because this is a quotation, within another quotation, I have to
Mm,
write, please, the whole information. I have to use the two inverted commas, but the new one should be single quotation mark, like
mm,
this.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So please be careful because I know that sometimes it is little confusing, but we have to practice as much as we can. I
Mm,
wonder if we have, we don't have, I don't have a certain sentence or certain sentences to practice. I'm sorry,
mm.
but this is rule number 6.
No, it's okay. It's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can send some um, exercises to you just to practice using quotation marks. The quotation marks, Malak, sometimes is really confusing because you notice that we have 6 rules. I have to be careful and I have to be specific in using the commas, full stop, exclamation mark, question mark. Where should I use the exclamation mark, the question mark? If I want to mention the person who said the information at the beginning, the middle, or maybe at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please be careful. Absolutely, I'm going to upload the video on YouTube. Try to watch it again,
Mm,
just to fully understand the quotation marks.
okay.
Okay?
Mm.
So thanks God, because till now we have finished talking about periods or full stops and
Yeah.
quotation marks. Now I think it's the time to discuss using the comma. The comma is one of the most important punctuation marks in English, to be honest. Okay.
Okay.
So do you have any questions about quotation marks?
No,
Now,
that's
okay,
good.
amazing. Now let's disconnect this meeting because we have to talk about something new. And because we want to start talking about the comma, let's please leave this meeting and come back again to start talking about using the comma.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm waiting for you.
Okay.